put a ring on it. Simple words. But when Beyonce sang them in Single Ladies, she didn't just release a song. She ignited a cultural phenomenon. But behind the glitz, the viral dance, and that iconic black leotard, is a story most people never hear. This is the untold story of Beyonce's Single Ladies performance, the genius, the controversy, and the legacy it left behind. Let's rewind to 2008. Beyonce had just tied the knot with Jay-Z. But unlike most celebrities, she kept it private. No wedding photos. No interviews. Silence. So, how do you tell the world you're married? Without telling the world. Simple. You release Single Ladies, put a ring on it. A 3-minute power anthem wrapped in a killer beat and a bold message. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. But the song wasn't just autobiographical. It was also a statement about women, about commitment, and about expectations. Co-written by Beyonce, The Dream, Tricky Stewart, and Koo Carroll. The track was made in under 20 minutes. Yes, 20 minutes. The Dream later called it a freestyle of energy. But what really set it apart wasn't the lyrics, wasn't the beat. It was the performance. When Beyonce performed Single Ladies, she did something artists rarely dare to do. She stripped everything down. No flashy background. No wardrobe changes. Just a black and white video. A single camera. And 3 women dancing in unison. Inspired by the work of legendary choreographer Bob Fosse, specifically his 1969 routine Mexican breakfast, the choreography was razor-sharp, hypnotic, and perfectly timed. Frank Gatson Jr. and Jaquel Knight crafted the steps with Beyonce, and what they created was pure magic. And here's the kicker. It only took them 12 hours to learn the routine. The black leotards? A nod to empowerment, not fashion. The minimalism? A risk Beyonce fought for. In fact, her label didn't want to release Single Ladies as the main single. They pushed for If I Were a Boy instead. But Beyonce? She knew. She knew this wasn't just a song. It was a movement. This was 2008. Before TikTok. Before Instagram Reels. And yet, Single Ladies went viral. People of all ages tried the dance. YouTube exploded with parodies. Justin Timberlake did it. Joe Jonas did it. Even President Obama got looped into a remix. It became the dance of the internet. But what made it special wasn't just the steps, it was the attitude. Confidence. Swagger. Control. Beyonce owned that stage every single time she performed it, especially at the 2009 MTV VMAs. And that's where things took a turn. September 13th, 2009. Taylor Swift had just won Best Female Video for You Belong With Me. She took the stage. And then it happened. Kanye West stormed the mic. Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'ma let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. Gasps. Silence. Chaos. But Beyonce's response? Pure grace. Later that night, when she won Video of the Year for Single Ladies, she invited Taylor back on stage to finish her speech. Class. Elegance. Leadership. It was a moment that showed Beyonce wasn't just an icon. She was a role model. And while Kanye's interruption grabbed headlines, Beyonce's performance that night, it stole the show. Over a decade later, Single Ladies is still everywhere. Wedding dances, talent shows, pop culture references. Even Michelle Obama said she used the choreography as a workout. The Library of Congress added the track to the National Recording Registry, calling it culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. But beyond awards, sales, and viral fame, Single Ladies changed how female artists present themselves. It wasn't about being overproduced. It was about being powerful. One camera, one outfit, one message. And it worked. At its core, Single Ladies wasn't just a breakup song. It was a feminist declaration. In a music industry that often pressures women to chase validation through romance, Beyonce flipped the script. She wasn't begging for love. She was setting standards. It empowered millions of women to stop settling and start owning their decisions. Whether it was about love, career, or self-worth, Single Ladies became an anthem for standing tall and walking away if respect wasn't on the table. This was Beyoncé's way of turning personal truth into universal empowerment. And she did it without ever pointing a finger. Just a flick of a wrist, and a whole generation got the message. What's wild is how the dance moves themselves became their own language. No words needed. Just a quick hand flip, a hip sway, and suddenly, you knew exactly what someone meant. It transcended language barriers, cultures, and continents. Even in places where English wasn't spoken, people performed the moves with flawless timing. It became a new kind of expression. That's not just choreography. That's choreography becoming culture. Few performances in history have had that kind of physical and emotional reach. But all of this didn't come without pressure. When the track and video started blowing up, Beyoncé had to keep pace with the momentum. Every live performance had to be on point. Every move timed to perfection. There were whispers about her perfectionism behind the scenes. Hours of rehearsals, do-overs, retakes. And yet, every time she stepped on stage, she delivered with ease. That's the thing about Beyoncé. She makes the impossible look effortless. But behind every spin and snap was dedication, discipline, and obsession with excellence. Single Ladies was more than a career highlight. It was a transition point. It marked the beginning of Beyoncé's full-blown evolution into the cultural force we know today. It set the tone for the unapologetic, socially conscious art she would later give us in albums like Lemonade and Homecoming. In a way, Single Ladies was her declaration of independence, not just in love, but as an artist. She wasn't just a singer anymore. She was a visionary, a movement in motion. Grammy Award for Song of the Year and Best Female R&B Vocal Performance. But even beyond trophies, what Beyoncé achieved with that performance was something awards couldn't measure. She had created a visual and emotional standard, one that critics, dancers, directors, and fans would reference for years. It was no longer just a pop song. It was part of the cultural archive. Now, over 15 years later, Single Ladies still hits. Play it at a wedding, and the dance floor lights up. Scroll through dance compilations, and there it is, living on through new feet and fresh faces. It hasn't aged. It hasn't faded. Because it was never just of its time. It was ahead of it. Beyoncé didn't just create a moment. She created a monument. And that's why Single Ladies isn't just a song you remember. It's a performance that remembers you.